In this first tip in Gmail, we're going to look at setting the stage by updating some key settings to make the most of your Gmail. In the settings tab, we are going to make modifications to undo send, show send in archive, default text style, multi-signature options, and out of office responder. There are several settings in Gmail. These are just a few that we're going to take a look at. While we're in the settings area, we're going to select the advanced tab and enable templates so that you can use those in tip number 9. So let's get started. In our Gmail inbox, to access settings, you go to the gear in the top right hand corner and select See All Settings. While there, you'll see your general settings. And the first thing we'll look at as you scroll down 1, 2, 3, 4, the undo send. Your send cancellation period is set to 5 seconds by default. That means when you send a message, you'll get a clickable link where you can undo send, meaning you can open back up the edit view of the email and make modifications. It gives you a chance in case you see a typo or forget to include other people or you forgot to add additional information. Very often I see like a grammatical or a misspell right after I hit send. And that gives you an opportunity to stop the send, make the correction, and then resend the email. By default, set to 5. I set mine to 30. It takes me a little longer to realize that I need to undo that send. So if you want a longer time to decide whether or not you send that message or not, and you want an opportunity to fix it, 30 is your max. I recommend setting it to 30. The second area we're going to take a look at is send and archive, because we're going to talk about using send and archive later in this webinar to maintain inbox zero. So select show send and archive button in reply. The next area we want to look at is default text style. Many of my clients tell me they constantly, after learning this tip, they go, I've always been changing my text to be larger, or I've always been changing my font. So if you're always changing it every time you send an email, you can set the default to something else. So if you would like a sans serif font, like Georgia, for example, and you want it to be ginormous, you can do that. If you want it to just be large, you can do that. So make a modification for your text. And then once you do that, every time you go to type a message, it will look exactly like that. Okay? So that's how you can set your default text style to be different. You also have the option to select color as well. The next thing we're going to look at is the multi-signature option. So scroll down the screen. In the signature area, there is the option now to have several signatures. And this goes really well if you wear a couple of hats in the organization. Maybe you're the social studies teacher, but you're also the principal. And sometimes you just want to send your signature out as one of those people. Maybe you would also like to send it out as the baseball coach or the cheerleading coach, because that's, you also wear that hat. So if you want a second signature, all you have to do is set up a signature. So here I have a signature set up, and then you can go ahead and create new. So I'm going to call this one coaching, and then click create, and you'll have a second signature. So I can put Allison Malika, baseball coach, and then whatever that is for. In your signatures, you can also add images and web links as well. So you can edit it just the same way that you'd edit an email. And then when you create an email, you have the option of what signature to select. Now, once you create a second signature, you will have the option to set a default. So here, under signature defaults, for new emails, I can choose my signature, which is my main one. But if I wanted my default to be coaching, I could. And on reply or forward, I could select to have no signature, because I don't need on forwarding or replying. I don't need that. Or I can have my signature be there all the time. So just keep in mind that now you can have multi-signatures, you can set defaults, but you can always modify it when you're in your individual email message. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Advanced tab, which is further up. Go to the menu in your settings, click on Advanced, and we're going to go ahead and enable templates. So by default, templates are disabled for some reason, and I want you to enable them because we're going to take a look at those in tip number 9. Okay? Save your changes wherever you make changes. So when you go to Advanced and you click on Enable, save your changes. When you go to General and you make changes to your general settings, before you return back to your inbox, select Save Changes. And in the next video, we'll look at tip number 2, determining what your preferred inbox style is and some tips for priority inbox and default categories.